Take on Tipperary for a place in the All-Ireland Senior Hurling Championship final, and the throw-in is at 4 o'clock. Glad you could join us here on the programme this afternoon. This was a little bit earlier on, and that's the Galway team arriving, looking fresh and ready for the fray, and no late changes that we know of anyway on this Galway side. Eamon O'Shea leading his Tipperary men in as well, the Munster champions of course. There is talk that Noel McGrath and Lara Corbett might see a little bit of action later on, but for the moment, well, that remains to be seen, obviously. Well, now here in studio, I am
55,000 tickets sold. You know, there was 41,000. So I think both counties are coming here with great expectations, and I think there'll be whoever gets over the line today will be severely tested, and I think that's actually good for both of them. Yeah. They will need to be tested today. You know, I mean, Galway's form in the quarter final, they were exceptional. The question is, you know, did Cork have a really bad off day, and how good Galway are? We'll only know that, I guess, at around 6 o'clock this evening. We'll know a lot more. But you know, I think certainly we're looking forward. There's been a lot of talk about sweepers and everything else over the summer, but these two teams, you know, I think their forward line is their strengths. They'll both look to play to their strengths, and we should get some really good fare here. It's
an interesting thing going into this match, Ger, because it's a different sort of atmosphere to the game last week, where the feeling out there was that Kilkenny just had too much for Waterford. Whereas this game, anybody you talk to, I was talking to Nicky English and Owen Kelly downstairs a little bit earlier on, hard to call, not quite sure which way this one might bounce.
Yeah, everybody's like that. And even on the way up this morning, you know, and I came up last week as well. There's a complete contrast today, you know. A lot of traffic on the road, many people coming to the game outside in beforehand. You know, the usual thing of the people of the Tipperary crowd with our sandwiches. Literally, I met them and took photographs with them.
You're probably in some of them.
I was going to say, did they offer you?
No, they didn't offer me any. The whole thing, they didn't offer me any. But it has that kind of an atmosphere that this is going to be a real semi-final. Not that last week wasn't, but I think we all realise that these are two real contenders for the All-Ireland. You know, Waterford have done really well, but none of us regard them as having a realistic chance of winning the All-Ireland. These two have, you know, and that's the great thing about this game. And I suppose what we all want more than anything else. I know these two lads here want to win, but the rest of us out there, we all want to see one of these really big games that we've been waiting for from the very start of the year. And I'm very confident. You often know by the atmosphere at the start. I'm very confident we'll have a game like that today.
And the thing about it is, which is, given the fact that Galway and Tip are at the forefront over the last number of years, very few semi-finals between them, say, over the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah, very few semi-finals, and I guess, you know, that's probably obviously the new system has made it hard to get to the semi-final nowadays. You know, it's very, very competitive. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have had ambitions this year of getting to Croke Park in August and haven't got there because, I mean, there's a lot of hurdles to be jumped. But, you know, I guess, you know, even in 2010, Tip and Galway, like, I mean, it went right down to the wire. You know, obviously it looked with a few minutes to go that Galway were going to hang on, and we just pipped them at the post. And back to 2005 again, Tip looked to be pushing on. Galway came back, won the game by 2 points. Damien Hayes got a great goal. So there has been that rivalry, but you would have to say that in the last 10 years when they have met, Tip have had the upper hand. You know, I mean, it is 2005 since Galway have turned them over in championship. So, you know, I think, and you know, last year when you go back to the qualifier in Thurles, Galway were in pole position and Tip outscored them 2-10 to a point in the last 20 minutes. Now, you know, it was a real capitulation on the evening, but I mean, up to that, they scored 4-13. They were going really well, but just ran out of puff near the finish. So, you know, Galway, I think, are really coming here with great ambition today. So it's very, very interesting.
Well, that is the game, Cyril Farrell, that has come sort of creeping out of the graveyard last year's match between the two sides. Now, there's two ways you can look at it. One is that Galway will come here with that in their minds and wanting to put things right, if you like, leading that game by 6 points.
That's right,
with about less than 15 minutes left, and still lost it. Actually lost it by 9, which was the thing about it. Or the other side of it is, it could still be playing on Galway's minds today.
Well, you're probably right in both occasions. Galway are still getting stick at home for losing that 6-point lead. Everyone's saying, why did you drop a man back and protect the full back? Now, it's easy to say that afterwards. They were driving on. Maybe the scoring was a little bit false because Johnny Lynn got a few goals against maybe the run of play. But like this year, they have been playing much different. They're up front. They're very, very physical.
Yes.
They're strong in the air. They're good in the air, and they're good to lay it off. I think if they get enough ball up front, like, they'll be fine. But the problem is at the other end, they have been leaking scores. And Tip, they're coming up against the forward line that has lovely movement, great skill. Like you're talking about, like Bubbles Dwyer, beautiful hurler. Bonner Maher do all the hair graft. Jason Ford just coming to the fore. Young O'Mara get the scores. Shamie Cannon, you know, himself and Joe Cannon are probably the main stars of going into the full forward line. Both
Shamie's having a second life.
Yeah, he is, and Joe is doing a good game as well. So, like, as Gerard said, there's all the ingredients of having a great game. And I think you're going to see hip and whip whip today a lot more than the other games. Like the other games are trying to play possession and nice little ball and hold on to it. I think today there'll be a lot of direct ball, because definitely the last day when Galway got the direct ball in, they were dangerous. And I think they'll go route one, something a bit like Kilkenny today.
But still at the same time, Michael, you can't get away from the fact that this is a test of Galway's character. You know, if that happened to a team last year, wouldn't you eat iron next year? Come out,
yes,
in order to prove yourself. You know, so you know, I know you can say you can put it behind you and all that, but really, if you have players and if you have a team of real character, they'll come out today and they'll prove that that was a once-off, and it should be a massive incentive to them going into this game today.
Oh. Hip and whip, nothing like it. Let's hear from the Tipperary camp right now. When the great Brendan Cummins stepped down as the man between the posts for the county, Portro's Darren Gleeson was the man who got the chance to step into the breach. For Darren Gleeson there, he's obviously looking forward to the big match. A man, Liam, that obviously you know very well from your own neck of the woods down there, but you also brought him on to the Tip panel.
Yeah, I did. I mean, Darren was blowing the lights out for many years in his own club in Portrush, and didn't get the chance. And it wasn't the risk that I took. I knew what the guy was capable of, having seen him up close. And he's been really good for Tipperary. I mean, being understudy to Brendan for a number of years is a hard role to play. Yeah. But he's played it, and he's got his chance and got his All-Star last year, and probably gave one of the greatest exhibitions of puckouts ever seen in Croke Park last year in the All-Ireland semi-final. And like today is a big day in terms of his distribution as well, because Tipper probably aren't noted of having the same ball winners as what Galway would have, so his precision puckouts is going to be very. Yeah. So if Galway don't pay Darren the respect he needs to get today, he'll pick them off and he'll be very, very important. But yeah, he's a great guy, and he's great both for Tip and for his club Portrush.
No, there's no doubt about that. But Cyril, let's take a broader look at the Tipperary team. One of the things that we've seen from this present side is the fluidity, if you like, that's in the team and how they set up and how they move around. Yeah. That is Galway midfielder Andy Smith, of course. Here are the teams coming out onto the pitch at Croke Park. Tip were out first, and followed closely along, of course, by Galway then after that. Sir, let's just go back to Andy Smith there. Not the kind of profile player that Joe Canning is from the Portumna club, but at the same time, he actually mentioned it there in his own interview, the honest shift that a player puts in, and he certainly is one of those.
Look, he's a warrior. I put it this way, if you're going to war, you'd like to have him in the trenches. That's the type he is. He'd fight for every ball, he'd scrap for every ball. Like, he's a great Portumna man. He said there himself, they'd live very near to Tip. He'd be getting a lot of slagging left, right and centre, because he'd be doing a lot of work out around the lower area.
Yeah.
But he's a great player. He'll give it everything. Usually he won't last the game. He goes in, he's in hard tackles. He works very hard. Good for a few points, but as he said, an honest shift, and you'll get that from Andy every day.
All right, Liam Sheedy, if Galway are to beat your own county, how are they going to go about it?
Yeah, well, I think we spoke about their intensity and their work rate that they had against Cork, so they really got that right the last day. But I think also, their ball-winning ability is going to be critical. It's well spoken about. But, in Jonathan Lane, this is the second minute. And, winning ball is one thing, but winning it against Kilkenny, I mean, if you want a benchmark in terms of winning primary possession, these are the guys that you set your benchmark against.
And getting scores. So what they did there, in playing to that style against Cork, they eliminated the effect of the sweeper, of the Cork sweeper, completely. Very similar to what Kilkenny did last Sunday here. And they used that corner forwards to do that. The same as Jerry Aylward was used by Kilkenny here last weekend. So, they have a great combination now within their forwards. As Liam says, they have these men who are brilliant at winning primary possession, winning ball in the air, but they also have these other lads now who have terrific skill, great pace, and the ability to create space. If they can combine all today, or any day they can combine all of those qualities, they are going to be very, very serious.
All right, we're going to find out a little bit later on, but right now, though, let's head outside Croke Park and get the views of a former All-Ireland winning captain.
Thank you very much indeed, Claire. Here is the Galway team that will start this All-Ireland hurling semi-final. Kinvara's Colm Callanan has had a wonderful season between the posts, but today he needs to be at his very best as he faces the hot-shot forwards from Tipperary. Uniquely, the Galway full backline all scored against Laois in the Leinster semi-final, but this afternoon, Johnny Cohen, John Hanbury and Pádraig Mannion will unequivocally be concentrating on their defensive duties. Aidan Hart and Dahi Burke are good, strong and quite fast-moving wing-backs as they support the rock from Ardrahan, Irla Tanyan, who will wear the number 6 jersey. Andy Smith and St Thomas's David Burke are selected in the middle of the field, and no doubt their performances will be crucial in this All-Ireland semi-final. Teenage sensation Conor Whelan from Kinvara is again given a starting position and once more joins Cyril Donlan and man of the match award winner in the quarter-final, Jonathan Glynn, in the half-forward line. And last but not least, the full forward line, surely of the Championship 2015. Jason Flynn, Joe Canning and Cathal Mannion, who have scored 8 goals and 66 points between them so far in just 5 games. All-Star goalkeeper 2014 Darren Gleeson from Portroe in North Tipperary plays in his 12th championship match in his career today here in Croke Park. So far he's only conceded 1 goal. Carl Barrett and James Barry resume normal service, but the one change announced during the week sees Éireog and a Carty man Conor O'Brien regain the left cornerback jersey. The Maher brothers are at 5 and 6 with 19-year-old Ronan only playing in his 4th championship match for his county today. Kieran Bergen completes the line. James Woodlock and Shane McGrath have been the first choice centre-field partnership for Tipperary for some time now, and no wonder, together they're a formidable force. Formerly a wing-back, now a centre-forward, Brendan Maher has always been a leader. He's the team captain with Jason Ford and Patrick Bonner-Maher operating out on the wings. Just like Galway, the Premier County has an awesome full forward line. John Bubbles O'Dwyer, Seamus Callanan and Niall O'Mara are all potential match winners. Together, they are deadly. And of course, this is Eamon O'Shea's 3rd year in charge of his beloved Tipperary and would love another crack at Kilkenny in the final, as would Anthony Cunningham, who last guided his county to the All-Ireland final 3 years ago.
Do you think that Galway are building game by game, that there's a better rhythm now, maybe you're finding continuity?
Yeah, you can't beat matches for championship really. This is their 6th match, and absolutely, you know, you can't beat being in Croke Park as many times as you can. This is, you know, it's Thurles or Croke Park. They're the stadia the guys want to play in, and really up for the game.
Do you think that'll be a big factor today, the amount of games you have played? Yeah,
it's great to get a run. We've had a super run this year, and you know, the guys are in really top of their games. Really, you know, we'll have to beat Tip, but we're well in there.
Do you think you're a much better side now than when you were beaten by Tip last year in the championship?
Yeah, I think we've improved a lot. Huge, you know, influx of young players as well. Brought new experience brought experience to what the older guys had to offer as well. So it's always great to have a variety, and you know, we've been very happy with them, and I think they want to really show their talents again today.
Is the layoff and the fact that this is only your 3rd game, is that a worry to you at all?
Yeah, well, we've played 3 games, they've played 6. Last year we had a run of 6, but it's how you handle it in between, so we won't know until it actually gets going. So, no, we're happy enough, very happy actually.
This is Croke Park, it's a semi-final. I suppose you expect a significant step up.
Yeah, it's our boys like playing here, and we've been here a few times in the last number of years, so, you know, we're in good shape.
Both sides have scoring forwards, as we know, but do you think that defence might hold the key today?
Yeah, I hope it does. You know, we're set up to deal with whatever comes before us. You know what I mean? And you know, we'll adjust and be flexible. Yeah.
Will we see Lar Corbett and Noel McGrath today, do you think?
Yeah, well, you might. We'll see how the game's going. So you know, but the 15 to start are in good shape.
And are you confident that you can make it back to another final?
Yeah, I believe in the players, and more importantly, the players believe in what they're doing.
We are getting close to throw-in time here at Croke Park. The scene is set. The big action of the day coming up right after these. The big hurling event on September the 6th. We are about to find out. And Tip, by the way, won the toss, and they will decide which direction they want to play for this first half. By the way, I've been asked by Maura down the Mike Cullen Club in Galway to say hello to Mickey Joe Hines and all the Galway gang who are watching out in Boston. They're actually watching in the Canton GA Club out there. I know it well, great GA facility for the Irish in Boston. But Cyril Farrell, will they have something to celebrate?
Hopefully they will. I think, like Galway, I think this year are good enough to beat Tipperary. If once they play with a bit of freedom, like look forward to the game, and there's only one way to really enjoy the game, that's to win it. Play with abandonment, show the real skill, and go for the game from the very first throw in, go to every ball first, and play. Just throw caution to the wind. I think that they can win this game.
Ger Loughnane, go out and enjoy the game, or just win it.
Enjoy the game, exactly. These are all winning at all costs. Yeah.
He never blew the whistle when he was referee.
You know, apart from what you said, I would see with Tipperary, you know, defence brilliant last year, but now Paddy Stapleton isn't playing, Conor O'Brien is cornerback. You know, Ronan Maher playing his first time at wing back. Brendan Maher playing farther up the field. Will that defence be as good as it was before? Questions about the Galway defence, I suppose the central line of Ian Italian and John Hanbury, that might be disguised a bit by the matchups. The way I'd put it, Michael, is as simple as this, that if Tip play like they played in the Munster final, they won't win, in my opinion. If Galway play like they played against Cork, they will win. Now, I suspect that neither will be the case, and that somehow Tip will eke out a win because they want so much to win that All-Ireland for Eamon O'Shea this year, and that might be the thing that would drive them on to win this game. But I expect a really, really tough contest.
And as we watch the teams, Liam Sheedy in the parade, there's a great atmosphere in Croke Park, which I guess you would expect for an All-Ireland hurling semi-final, which you can actually feel it here in the studio beginning to ratchet up.
Yeah, you can. You know, everyone, I think, the neutrals, the Galway supporters, Tip supporters, everyone looking forward to, you know, what we expect will be a really rip-roaring contest. And, you know, it is finely poised. I mean, the two attacking forces in both squads have the potential to do damage. They definitely can inflict damage if given the right ball. But ultimately, I think Tipperary defensively, I think they're further down the road. I think if I was managing Tipperary today, I'd be looking for that early goal to try and unhinge that backline, because the backline, I think, you know, you need to put doubts into the Galway backline, and I think if they were to do that, I think they could push on. And I just think maybe, you know, as I said, Tipperary might be that bit further down the line. As I said, and I think Ger makes a very valid point. Eamon O'Shea has had a huge impact on all of these players, and I think they certainly won't want his last match to be sending him back to Salthill there and losing to a Galway side. So a lot at stake. I think we're in for a great contest, but tip the shade in my view.
All right, lads. Well, there's no real point in asking you for predictions because I know who you want to win. Cyril, I know. And of course, Gerard Nan's a former Galway manager as well. So
it's 3-1 here.
I think we'll just take this one as read.
Yeah.
Okay, it is time then to hand over to our commentary team for today.